we're on the proposals, I would like to go back to each of the persons that are here and ask if you support the Benton Harbor City Public Library operating village renewal proposal. And why? Why you support it or do not?
I support the millage renewal proposal on the ballot. The library is important to this community. Libraries are important to all communities. It's a gathering place for the children to go and get books. I have a son who enjoys going to the library. He learns a lot at the library. It is a way and an outlet other than doing other things, for walking the streets for kids and for parents to send their children.
Yes, and I agree as well. I do support the millage, and I think it is an important resource in our community for our children that actually use it. When I was a child, I actually used Benton Harbor's public library, so yes, I do support the millage for the library.
I also do support it. When I first actually moved here to Benton Harbor about 13, 14 years ago, Benton Harbor Public Library was the first library that I came to, and I actually did extensive research. It's like a sanctuary in its own self. So I actually support it, and I encourage the voters to vote yes on that.
Mr. Bowens, we'll start with you this time. How confident are you that the future City Commission can work harmoniously toward the betterment of the City of Benton Harbor?
I'm pretty confident. I think the voters, number one, I think this election has woken up a lot of people. I think the voters, if they elect the correct candidate, study the background. I think the voters need to be careful. You don't want to vote a person that's going to say yes, 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 yes to everything. You want to vote a person that studies, do their knowledge and everything of that nature. And if all of those components work together, we're able to have an open communication and everything, respect each other's opinion and value, I think that city government would work in a great aspect.
As a city commissioner, when elected, I intend to work with all the other commissioners on the commission for the betterment of the citizens of the city of Benton Harbor, for the taxpayers, for the electors. All personal opinions aside, that all that stuff has to be put in the back room, and you have to get down and you have to do the business of the city.
I'm optimistic. I hope that is the case. I believe as long as the main reason is always kept forefront, we are here to be voices for the people in our community. And so as long as that is kept at the forefront, I think that is possible. I'm hopeful.
Thank you. And Mr. Guild, if you would start if you would begin, and again, this question is to everyone. When and if, let's say when, the emergency financial manager either leaves his position or returns control back to the Benton Harbor City Commission, one or the other, what do you believe should be the first steps or actions that the Benton Harbor City Commission should take?
Well, the first action that the City Commission should take is to continue on the established protocols that were set forth by the EFM, keep the city in the financial black and not go back down the road that we have been for so many years. And by keeping what he's put in place, I think that will benefit the taxpayers and the electors.
Thank you. Ms. Henderson.
I think after the EMF leaves, I think the commission actually needs to be able to prove that they are able to do that. And I think they ought to be able to put together a 5-year plan based on what he has done in order to prove that, you know, they learned a lesson. We learned a lesson from this financial mess that we have had for the years in the city. So I think the commission actually needs to prove it to earn the community's trust. Thank you.
That's a good question. I also share the same sentiments as Ms. Henderson stated. I do think we do need to have a 5-year strategic plan. We also have to remember when Joe Harris leaves, it's going to be a 2-year budget set in place. So we have to worry about the next 2 years. But I think we need to have a strategic plan in place. But also we need to be inclusive with all the citizens. You're the taxpayers of Benton Harbor. You decide what we want to do. You elect us to do a job, but also this is your community. So I think we need to be inclusive, have a 5-year strategic plan, and keep on some of the steps that Joe Harris has set in place. What steps? I think at this point we need to be understanding what are those steps? How has he trained our future leaders or the staff that when he leaves so we can be city taken ready?
Thank you.
When you are elected, and there is still, when you take office, take your seat, and there is still an EFM, I'm not going to say a name, but there is still an emergency financial manager. Would you work with that person? Would you work with other levels of government, such as the county, state, federal?
I will work with anyone who's willing to work with the city of Benton Harbor, with the interests of the city of Benton Harbor at heart. I will learn from anyone. If it is not broke, there's no need to fix it.
I mean, of course, you know, as an elected official, it would be foolish not to work with people and to be a business-friendly community. One of the things that we want to happen is to draw business. So to be antagonistic and not work with people would be foolish. So yes, I would be willing to work with anybody that's, you know, looking to move our city forward in a very positive manner. Absolutely. Thank you.
That's a good question. I will work with anybody that is willing to actually work with the city. I actually have a track record working with our state, county, and federal officials in government, making sure things happen. So yes, I will work with the people of Benton Harbor.
Thank you.
Let's start with Mrs. Henderson. In your vision, what would a great Benton Harbor look like?
In my vision, Benton Harbor would be a place that had ample housing, not just low-income habitat homes, but homes where people of any income stature would love to live. There would be ample jobs. There would be as many local business owners involved in the wealth building process in Benton Harbor as there were anybody else that was coming in from the outside. So all areas of business would be prosperous. Our local school would not be in debt. We would be a school that was on the edge of technology, educating our youth and inspiring them to want to reach the moon. Not saying that that's not occurring now. We would have local graduates who have come out of our educational system and is changing the world. We would have our roads and our transportation system so tight that you know, when coming into this city, that there's no other place that you would love to come to while driving on a road down to Benton Harbor. So for me, Benton Harbor would be an ideal place to raise families, own a business, and live. Thank you.
Can you repeat that question, please?
Yes. In your vision, what would a great Benton Harbor look like?
In my vision, a great Benton Harbor would be a Benton Harbor that works for all, not for the few, by the few, and only the few. It would be a Benton Harbor where we have better sidewalks, better and stronger block clubs, a Benton Harbor where we have jobs, but we're also innovative, competitive. Imagine a Benton Harbor that has Wi-Fi, a Wi-Fi community. Imagine a Benton Harbor that's green. We could set the pace for Southwest Michigan, but it starts with the residents believing in Benton Harbor. Until we focus on inspiring the residents to believe again and taking part of the problem, Benton Harbor can be that great city, that shining city on the hill. We can be the great part of Southwest Michigan.
I envision a vibrant Benton Harbor with economic opportunities for everyone, where we have businesses, we have safe housing, we have clean streets, clean parks, up-to-date municipal systems, trash pickup, a Benton Harbor that's in the black, that doesn't owe anyone any money but pays its bills on time, a Benton Harbor with commissioners that get along with all other local communities who are willing to help and assist Benton Harbor. I envision a vibrant downtown, like the downtown of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, where it was and can be and will be a place that citizens go on Sunday and Saturday, and that is a destination place, not a place that people want to leave, that people are employed gainfully, happily, no matter whether you are a sanitation worker, a school teacher, a corporate executive. It takes all types and representative people to make a city prosper and grow.
I think we can all agree with the vision that each of you have articulated for us. But I'm going to challenge each one of you to give me 3 specific steps toward your vision, and I'm going to ask you further to tell me how you're going to pay for those 3 specific steps toward achieving your vision of Benton Harbor. Could you wait just a minute, please? Mr. Bowen, I believe it's your turn to start.
Okay. And the question that you asked was, what are the first 3 steps that I would take, and how would I pay for my vision of building a better Benton Harbor? Well, that's a great question. The first, let me explain it. You can't pay a person to believe in something. That comes from within yourself. But it also starts at focusing on our younger generations. I see some kids in the back, I think they're high school students. It starts with them. It starts with training up a child. We have to be collective. We have all of these churches. We need to engage them in the process. We also have to be innovative with the ways that we understand the ways that we were working before weren't working. So we have to be creative. We have to be innovative, basically. We have to come up with new ways to reach out to people. As walking the streets and talking with the people, a lot of the residents hearing the stories and frustrations, they lost faith. So we have to focus on that. Paying for this, I haven't really looked at that part because, as I stated, you can't pay a person, but when I'm elected on November 8th, I will focus on going to Washington, D.C., going any and everywhere where I need to get Benton Harbor resources. That's what I would do.
Thank you.
One of the steps, and Trey mentioned that, engaging and involving our youth, I think that youth in our community, are important, and I think that they are one resource that we have to mold and to get involved in the political process. They always think that this stuff doesn't involve them or it doesn't really matter to them, but involving our youth and making them see that what happens in the city does affect you and the things that go on. Another idea that I have in terms of that is creating a business-friendly environment. And by doing so, welcoming people, sitting down at the table, generating partnerships and listening to people. One of the ways that I think that we can pay for that, and I know that I didn't give 3 ways, but another way that I think we can pay for that is utilizing the HUD Act of 1968 to actually generate housing and gainful employment for our residents. Thank you.